So now Atif, Mazia, Minashi. So tell me, what should we start with in revision? Like what topic we should start? From where we need to start for your revision? All of you, please tell me. And before starting the revision, in case if you have any problem, then tell me. In any heading, any concept, tell me please. No problem? No doubt? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So tell me, where should we start? We should start from what topic? Whatever you feel that we need to start with the revision. So that is like tell me the difficult part. There we'll start from there only. Revision session. Atif, is there any doubt? Minashi,
No, sir.
from where we should start? Tell me. Plant physiology, animal physiology. Yes,
Human physiology.
human physiology. Right. So is it okay for all of you? Tell me. Don't hesitate. Be outspoken. Then I'll feel more comfortable. Should we start with the human physiology? Atif, am I audible? Yes, dear. So I think in human physiology, digestion and absorption have been removed from your syllabus. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So breathing and exchange of the gases is there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the from here only, breathing and exchange of the gases, right? So start from the human physiology. Atif, I'm not getting any response from your end. Like I'm not confident that are you audible? Am I audible to you or not? Are you getting me, Atif?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Fine, fine. So should we start with the human physiology as rest of the two have requested for the same? Should we start?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Right. So we'll start from the breathing and exchange of the gas, right? Fine. Give me 1 second. So first start with the respiration in human. That is it. Right, right. The respiration. Fine. Look. So first start with the human respiratory organ, right? So let's open with the PPT. I'll start revision from the starting one. And in case if you have like you just have your NCRT along with you, and keep on watching on the NCRT in case if you are feeling any problem or any question in between. So what exactly you have to do? You have to interrupt me over there, and then you will let me know that the point where you have any doubt, the heading where you have doubt, the concept where you have doubt, and I'll clear your concept finally, right? And that's my humble request. Please don't hesitate while asking the question. Feel free to ask question irrespective like what kind of the question is it. Like it may be basic, but I don't mind for that, right? So let's start. Respiratory organ. While we are talking about the respiratory organ, this is the diagram which is reflecting human respiratory organ. In human respiratory organ, as you can see that here, the upper part, this is a trachea. Trachea is made up of a cartilage, and it is made up of actually cartilage ring. And cartilage rings they are incomplete ring. It is made up of incomplete ring, right? Why incomplete ring? These rings are like this type. So in front side, they are rings are there. In back side, like in dorsal side, rings are complete, and ventral side rings are incomplete, right? Trachea get divided into two parts. Both of the part are called bronchus. Bronchus further get divided into bronchi and then bronchioles. And at the end of the bronchiole, there are balloon-like structure. The balloon-like structure are called alveoli. And alveoli are basically meant for the exchange of the gases, as we have already understood. Look, there is a muscular structure which work like curtain. This muscular structure is called diaphragm, right? Diaphragm is a muscular structure. The upper part to the diaphragm is thoracic cavity, where all the respiratory organs are present. The lower part below the muscular structure is abdominal cavity, where digestive system is present, right? So the function of diaphragm, first, the main function that it separates digestive cavity or abdominal cavity from the thoracic cavity. And the second, it is made up of muscles, right? Look, this is the diagram of lungs. When we're talking about the diagram of lungs, so this is the trachea, this is the bronchus, right? And bronchus, bronchiole. Again, the lungs, like we have already understood that the left lung is smaller and right lung is larger, right? Why it is smaller? Because there is a large space. That space is available for the heart, and this space is called cardiac notch, right? Where heart get fit. So heart get fit over here in the left side. That's why the left lung is a smaller one. It gives the space to the lungs, to the heart. And again, the right lung is divided into three lobes, right? Right lobes. So dorsal, middle, and lower lobes, right? And this left one is divided into two lobes, right? Left lobes and this lower lobes, right? Again, the lungs remains covered with a membrane that is called pleura. Pleura is a protective membrane, and it is made up of epithelium, right? It is made up of epithelium. Again, inside pleura, there are two pleura, outer and internal pleura. Between the pleura, there is a fluid called pleural fluid. Pleural fluid protect lungs from the desiccation, and it protect from the frictions, right? The lower part is called diaphragm. So these were human respiratory organ, right? So lungs are our basically human respiratory organ. So the lower one, this part is basically especially for the actually medical examination, but still I want to make you revise. In case if you want to take the screenshot, you can. So look, the different animal group and the respiratory system they have, right? So in protozoa, the basic respiration takes place with the help of plasma membrane, right? So diffusion of gases takes place through plasma membrane, and there is again a membrane called pellicle. We have already studied these membrane called pellicle. So pellicle basically found in like euglena, they have pellicle. So these are the membrane through which the diffusion of gases takes place. The second one, that is the sponges, right? So second one are sponges. Again, the sponges are meant for the exchange of gases through their plasma membrane. Again, in cnidarians. Cnidarians, the exchange of gases takes place through the body walls, right? They do not have any respiratory organ. In Ctenophora, again, the respiration takes place through body wall. When we comes to the platyhelminthes, the respiration takes place through body wall. And here I have written that this question have been asked in medical examination. These tapeworm and liver flu, these both are the parasite, as we know. Tapeworm is parasite in human intestine, and liver fluke is this one parasite in the liver of goat and sheep. So both they perform anaerobic respiration. So they do not require oxygen for respiration. Hence, they do not require any kind of the respiratory organ. Annelids like earthworm, they respire with the help of body wall, but some of the annelids they respire with the help of gills. Arthropoda. Arthropoda, this is a group which have large number of respiratory organs. So, like those arthropods which are found in water, like prawn. So prawn is a not fish. We call it prawn fish, but prawn is actually that is an insect, right? It comes under the arthropoda. So respiration takes place through the gills. Again, there is a insect. Insect have gills. We all know. Insect have trachea. So what is a trachea? Trachea is a pipeline like structure which remains spread across the body, and respiration in insect takes place with the help of trachea. Again, book lungs. So book lungs are this kind of open book like structure. This one, these are the book lungs. They are found in scorpion and a spider. Next one is Eutenasius respiration. Eutenasius respiration takes place in mites. Eutenasius means again when the respiration takes place through the skin of the insect. This is called Eutenasius respiration. Like example, mites. Next phylum is mollusca. In molluscan, the respiration takes place with the help of gills, and there is a one more lungs-like structure that is called pulmonary sac. In muscular molluscan, the respiration takes place through gills and pulmonary sac. In echinodermata, the respiration takes place with the help of tube feet or water canal system. In chordates, again, fishes respire with the help of gills. Amphibian with the skin and lungs. When they are inside water, they respire with the help of the skin. When they are out of the water, they respire with the help of lungs. Reptile, bird, and mammals, they also respire with the help of skin and lungs. So this was the respiratory organ. Is it clear? Keep on telling me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And wherever you want, you can take the screenshot. Next. Again, we are talking about here the human respiratory organ, means we are talking about the human lungs. Look. The conducting part, so we have divided respiratory organ in two parts, conducting and respiratory part. Actually, conducting part is made up of that pipeline which conduct the air, which takes the air and which bring back the carbon dioxide. So here with the help of this conducting tube, respiration do not take place, means exchange of gases do not take place. The exchange of gases takes place only in respiratory part. Here the conducting part, the upper pipe is called trachea, then trachea is further branch into bronchus. We have studied bronchus are the further branch into secondary bronchus. Secondary bronchus further branches tertiary bronchus or bronchi. Then tertiary bronchus further branch into terminal bronchioles. Bronchioles and terminal bronchioles. So these bronchioles till bronchioles exchange of gases do not take place. When terminal bronchiole, they have respiratory bronchiole and alveolar sac. These are the part where the exchange of gases takes place, right? The same question have been asked in medical, right? Which of the following is only conducting part, not respiratory part? And that kind of the question have been asked, right? Now come to the human respiratory organ again. Look, nostrils are only these holes which are present in our nose, like these are the nostrils. Inside the space inside our nose is called actually nasal cavity, right? We sometimes we also take oxygen with the help of our mouth. That is called oral cavity, the space inside our mouth. Pharynx is that part till where both oral cavity and nostril cavity, both are the similar. So, or rather we can say the food pipe and windpipe are common till the pharynx. After pharynx, the windpipe and food pipe divide from each other. They get separated, they have different path. In below the pharynx, there is a trachea, and from where the trachea start, above the trachea, there is a larynx. Larynx is also known as sound box, right? So larynx is called sound box, and we speak with the help of larynx. So larynx is made up of two pair of vocal cord, right? The upper pair is called false vocal cord and lower pair is called true vocal cord. Basically, we produce or we talk with the help of lower vocal cord. For vocal cords, they are membranous structure present in pair. They are thicker and larger in men. They are thick and larger in men. Hence, there is low vibration in men's sound. So that's why men's voice is loud, but they are thin and small in women. Hence, vibration takes place more quickly. Hence, women have swelling sound, right? They have swelling sound. So, because of the difference in vocal cord, there is a difference in the voice of male and female. The below the larynx, right? There is which we call sound box. There is a trachea. Trachea is made up of a special kind of the cartilage called hyaline cartilage. I have made star over here. This question have also been asked in medical, but it is important for your school examination when you have to explain the human respiratory organ. Then you have to explain all of the things, and keep it in mind that they can ask you what is the vocal cords, how the sound production takes place in human. So this kind of the question can be asked in your school examination. Hence, be prepared and focus work. So trachea is made up of a very transparent kind of the cartilage. This is called hyaline cartilage, right? It is also called as windpipe. Again, look, one more thing. Inside the trachea, so inside layer of trachea is made up of epithelium. This is made up of two kind of the epithelium, ciliary epithelium and mucous epithelium. Look, mucous epithelium secrete gel-like substance, which is called mucus. It trap the impurities, it trap the pathogens, and there are ciliary epithelium. Ciliary epithelium have cilia-like structure. Whenever dust or smoke or any harmful substance goes inside our body, what happens? These ciliary epithelium, they start vibrating. They start motion like this way. So that's how they do the motion. And with the help of motion, they throw the dust particle, carbon particle, and all kind of the harmful substances, right? So keep it in mind that the inner part of the trachea, it is not made up of cartilage. Actually, this is made up of epithelial layer, and there are two kind of the epithelium: ciliary epithelium and muscular epithelium. Again, the lower part is called lungs, right? So the just we have just few minutes before we have discussed that lungs is surrounded by two membrane, and commonly these membranes are known as pleura. So there are two pleura, outer and inner pleura. Keep it in mind. Outer pleura is known as parietal pleura. This one. Outer pleura is known as parietal pleura, and inner pleura is known as visceral pleura. Right. So this is pleural membrane, and inside the pleural membrane there is a pleural fluid, as we know. Is that clear to all of you? Ask me if you have any doubt. Else, I will keep on asking you.
Clear, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So tell me one thing. I have a question for you. Good, very good question for you. Humans can produce with the help of a sound box, like they can produce sound with the help of a sound box called larynx. So you know that if you have parrot at your home, you can make parrot to learn to speak like human. And there are many birds which can speak like human, right? They can produce sound like human. So what we call the sound box of birds, yeah, or with the help of which system they produces the sound? Tell me, guys. What kind of sound system humans have? Tell me. No. What kind of sound system birds have? So write it down. The sound box of birds, the sound box of birds is known as syrinx. Sound box of bird is known as syrinx. Clear? Okay. Now come to the next page. Next page. Human respiratory system. Now we are going to study human tidal volume. It is very important. They can ask you as a 2-marker question, human tidal respiratory volumes, right? So what is the tidal volume? So tidal volume is that amount. Please keep it in mind over here and keep eyes over here. This is very important, and they will ask you definitely respiratory volume. Like I am talking with you, I am breathing in and breathing out. So when I breathe in, I take 500 ml, means 1.5 ml air inside. When I breathe out, I remove the same amount of the air from my lungs, from my nose, right? So when I breathe in, take 500 ml. When I breathe out, like I release 500 ml. So this volume, which is used in common breathing, we take in and we take out, that is called tidal volume. Basically, this is 500 ml, right? This is 500 ml, and this is like 500 ml per second, and this is 500 ml in one go, and we breathe in and breathe out approximately 6,000 to 18,000 ml per minute, right? What is inspiratory reserve volume, IRV? So inspiratory reserve volume. So suppose that I have taken 500 ml normally. Now after 500 ml, how much more volume I can take inside? That is called inspiratory reserve volume. Like how many more I can take? So this 500 ml plus IRV, right? So that is called IRV, inspiratory reserve volume. Now what is expiratory reserve volume? Like in tidal volume, I breathe out 500 ml. How much more oxygen, how more volume I can expire out after this 500 ml? That is called ERV, expiratory reserve volume, right? After expiration, how much reserve is there in my lungs? Residual volume is that volume which that air that person cannot breathe out, right? It will always remains inside our lungs even after forceful respiration. Like whatever the force I apply my lungs, the tidal volume, residual volume cannot be removed from the lungs, right? Tell me, is it clear? All point, have a look and tell me. Then I'll go ahead.
Yes, sir, clear.
Great. Now these were the respiratory capacity. Now comes to the lungs capacity. Look. Lungs capacity. The previous one we are respiratory volumes. These are the lungs capacity. What is inspiratory capacity? The tidal volume, that is 500 ml, and inspiratory reserve volume, like 500 ml plus the more volume we can take, approximately 1500. So that is called inspiratory capacity, the total volume which we can inspire. So that is inspiratory capacity is equal to TV, that 500 which can inspire, and IRV, like the forcefully which I can take more, right? That is called inspiratory capacity. Same expiratory capacity, it is tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Like the amount of oxygen that normally I removed, amount of the gas that normally I remove from, or normally I expire, and plus the forcefully which I can expire. So it is EC expiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus expiratory reservoir, right? Is it clear? Both of the term clear? Atif, Mazia, Minashi.
Yes, sir.
Now comes to functional residual capacity. So that is FRC. Residual volume cannot be removed, plus the expiratory reserve volume that keep on working. When we breathe out, our body work with the help of ERV, right? So functional residual capacity is equal to residual volume plus expiratory reserve volume, right? Vital capacity is the total lungs capacity minus residual volume, right? So vital capacity, that is basically used by our lungs. So the approximately, that is vital capacity is 3400 to 4800 ml. Total lung capacity, mean what is the lungs volume? What is the volume of lungs? That is called total lungs capacity, right? So total lungs capacity is equal to vital capacity. Total lungs capacity is equal to vital capacity plus that is residual volume, which cannot be used. Residual volume. Right. So tell me, have a glance, have an eye on this heading, and ask me if any point is not clear, and go through with your NCRT. Have a look on your NCRT page number 271 and 272, and tell me if you are confused or if you are have any doubt with any of the heading.
Clear, sir.
Clear? Atif and Mazia, clear to all of you? So go ahead with. Now step of respiration, right? Very simple. It is important for your school examination. 2 mark or 3 mark question. Step of respiration. So first step is inspiration and expiration. Means that is breathing, taking in and taking out the air. Second, the air is taken in. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 across the membrane of alveoli, right? How does the oxygen goes into the blood from alveoli membrane, and carbon dioxide enter inside the lungs from blood, right? So that is the exchange of the gases across the membrane. Third, transport of gases. That is how the gases are transported, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen is transported from the lungs to the tissues, and carbon dioxide is transported back from the tissues to the lungs, right? Fourth, diffusion of O2 and CO2. That is the diffusion, that is exchange of O2 and CO2 between the blood and tissues, right? Then last but not the least, utilization of the O2. That is the real respiratory process. So these are the 5 steps of respiration, right? Come to the next point. Sorry. Now I must be audible to you. So look, here the external intercostal muscles. So these black color structure are ribs. So there are some muscles outside to our ribs. They are called external intercostal muscle. When they contract, they pull the rib upward and outward, right? So volume expand. So inner side, they have a different kind of the muscles. They are called internal intercostal muscle. When they contract, they takes the rib inward and downward. That's how they compress the lung, right? So that is called intercostal muscle. Look, when internal will contract, then external will relax. When external will contract, then internal will relax. If one rib contract, then another have to relax, right? That is the scenario. Look, now how does inhalation be takes place? Be focused. It is very important for you as a 3-marker question for your school examination. It have nothing to do with the medical examination. Like this is not the question for the medical examination. Basically, this is for the school examination. And you have to draw the same diagram. You have to explain like in the same way we are discussing over here. And you have to dictate the same thing. Inhalation. Internal intercostal muscle contract. So these internal intercostal muscles, which we can see, these internal intercostal muscles contract. When they contract, as I have already told, then external will relax, right? The external intercostal muscle contract, right? Internal intercostal muscles relax and external intercostal muscle contract. So when external intercostal muscle will contract, then internal will relax. Rib cage move upward. When external will contract, then it will pull ribs upward. Rib cage will move upward and outward. Next, diaphragm flattened. So diaphragm goes downward. Diaphragm flattens, right? Volume of thoracic cavity increase. When these ribs come outward and diaphragm goes downward, then the volume inside our rib cavity increases. So volume inside the lungs increases. So volume inside the lungs cavity increases. Third, pressure in alveoli decreases. When pressure decreases, then air start moving from high pressure to low pressure. So air start moving from atmosphere so inside and air moves in. That's how inhalation takes place. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Then exhalation, right? That is removal of gases. Internal intercostal muscles contract. Internal intercostal muscle contract. Then what will happen? Obviously, external will relax. External intercostal muscle will relax. Now, due to this, rib cage move downward and inward, right? Diaphragm come upward, means it get relaxed, it become convex, right? So diaphragm move upward. What happened due to this? Due to these, like these ribs coming downward and diaphragm going upward, due to which volume of thoracic cavity decreases, then pressure inside alveoli increases and air moves outward. Is that clear?
Yes.
Breathe in, breathe out volume. These both question, like any one of these question can be asked to you as a 3-marker question, and you have to make this diagram and you have to make this flow chart, then write the answer, right? If you write 3 or 4 point even after the diagram and this flow chart, then you will get the 3 marks. Next, exchange of gases between the alveoli. This look. Here we have to study the exchange of gases between alveoli and blood. Look. So these are alveoli. Like this is the tube called bronchus, and this is the alveoli cavity. Right? This is the alveoli cavity. And alveoli cavity, there is a alveoli membrane. This is the alveoli membrane. And alveoli membrane, this is surrounded by these small blood vessels. And now the exchange of gas takes place between the blood vessels and wall of alveoli. The same thing have been reflected over here in detail. right here. So look, here what happened, this is the surface of alveoli. Carbon dioxide comes from RBC into alveoli chamber, alveoli cavity. Oxygen grows from alveoli to blood. That's how the exchange of gases takes place. Now I have tried to show the same thing, same phenomena in detail, right? So this upper part, this upper part belongs to alveoli. First, why the exchange of gases takes place? That's what I have tried to explain over here. Why? Like how the exchange of gas takes place, that we have studied. Why the exchange of gas takes place, now we are studying over here. Look. So this is the alveoli, actually. This is the alveoli. Now, in the alveoli, the external wall is made up of epithelial layer of alveoli, epithelial layer. Then outside of epithelial layer, there is a mucus substance that is called basement membrane, like membrane structure that is made up of mucus. That is called basement membrane. And inner side of the lungs is made up of a fluid or gel-like substance that is called surfactant fluid, right? So there are three layers, right? So this is the alveoli, and between the alveoli and the blood capillary, there is a space called interstitial space. And as we know that interstitial space remains filled with a middleman that is called lymph, right? So lymph is the middleman which help in exchange of gases. Now come to the this one, blood capillary. The inner wall of blood capillary is made up of endothelial layer, right? And outside to endothelial layer or epithelial layer, there is a basement membrane, right? Inside the blood capillary, there are RBC, right? What happened? From RBC, carbon dioxide diffuse out from RBC to the alveoli. Why? Because the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 45 mmHg in RBC, and inside the alveoli, the partial pressure is 40 mmHg. So in RBC, the partial pressure of alveoli, carbon dioxide is high, but partial pressure of CO2 is less in alveoli. That's why the carbon dioxide move from higher pressure to lower pressure. Means that is from RBC to the alveoli. Again, the partial pressure of oxygen is higher in alveoli and lower in RBC. Hence, this is 104 in alveoli and this is 95 mmHg in RBC. So that's how oxygen moves from the lungs cavity, that is the alveoli, to the RBC. Tell me, is it clear or not? Exchange of gases. Have a look and tell me. Tell me, guys, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Atif, clear? Go through with your NCERT, page number 272 and 273. Have a look in your NCERT and let me know. Now the next topic is transport of O2 and CO2. How does the transport of O2 and CO2 take place? So transport of O2 is very simple. That is not going to be asked in your school examination, but transport of CO2 is complex, and that will be the school question. And that will be the full length question in the form of long answer you have to write, right? Look, what happened, like in transport of O2. So this is a blood capillary, and inside the blood capillary there is two things. That is RBC, that is blood capsules, and that is the blood plasma. So 97% of oxygen that transported with the help of hemoglobin, right? So hemoglobin transport 97% of oxygen. Hemoglobin makes a bond with oxygen in the and makes the HbO2, oxyhemoglobin, right? When oxyhemoglobin reaches to the tissue, it breaks down again in oxygen and hemoglobin. That's why this is a reversible reaction. Rest of the 3% of oxygen is transported in the form of dissolved with the blood plasma. That's how the transport of oxygen takes place. Below the heading, I have written a notes, and what is the note? That 15 gram of hemoglobin is found in 100 ml of blood. 1 gram of hemoglobin carry 1.34 ml of oxygen. That's why 100 ml of blood have 19.4 ml of oxygen. Clear? Transport of O2. Minashi, Mazia,
Yes, sir.
clear? Next is transport of CO2. So oxygen is transported with the help of only two things: dissolved form, and second with the hemoglobin. But here the carbon dioxide is transported like in different way. Look, the transport of CO2 takes place in this way. 70% of carbon dioxide is transported with the dissolved form in plasma. So sorry, 7%. Actually, the solubility of CO2 is more than O2. Try to understand. And this is the solubility sequence. Look, solubility of, this is very important. This one. Solubility, this is the sequence of solubility. In blood plasma, carbon dioxide is highly soluble, then it comes to the oxygen, then it comes to the nitrogen, right? That is a sequence. So the oxygen was dissolved only 3%, transported in dissolved form only 3%, but carbon dioxide is transported only in 7%. So that is higher than oxygen. Rest 70% of the CO2 is transported in the form of bicarbonate ion. And now what are the bicarbonate ion? How does they are formed? We'll study. Rest 23% of carbon dioxide is transported with hemoglobin. It makes bond with the hemoglobin, right? So carbon dioxide, how does the bicarbonate ions are produced? So what happened? That look, what happened? Bicarbonate ion formation, how does it take place? Carbon dioxide react with the water, right? And where? In blood plasma. So carbon dioxide, like in RBC plasma, carbon dioxide makes a bond with the water and it makes carbonic acid. The reaction is catalyzed by an enzyme called carbonic dehydrogenase. Again, carbonic acid breaks down into, it is because this is an unstable product, right? So carbonic acid breaks down in bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion. This hydrogen ion keep on wandering and it reduces the pH value of the blood. So if somebody asks you what is the pH value of the deoxygenated blood, yes, there is a difference in oxygenated and deoxygenated. Oxygenated blood is more basic and deoxygenated blood is less basic. So in general, the pH value is 7.4. But when the blood is deoxygenated and more hydrogen and comes out, then the pH value decreases to 7.34, right? That's how the bicarbonate ions are formed. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now come to the another concept, that is a chloride shift. So we have studied that most of the like the majority, that is 70% of the carbon dioxide transported in the form of bicarbonate. How does they are formed? And what is the chloride shift? This is also known as Hamburger phenomena. So transport of carbon dioxide and chloride shift, they are very important as a long answer for your school examination. Mechanism of breathing is 3-marker question. Tidal volume, volumes, and all the volume, like every volume is of 2-marker question. Right, that is a weightage in your exam. Look, How does this formation takes place? This is the epithelial wall of blood capillary. This is the epithelial layer of blood capillary, right? And inside these are the RBC. This is the red color structure. This is the RBC. So tissue takes between the blood capillary and between the tissues, there is a lymph that is called middleman. We know and we have studied in detail. Tissue gives carbon dioxide to middleman, that is a lymph. From lymph, it comes to the epithelial layer of blood capillary. And when carbon dioxide enters inside the plasma of RBC, it reacts with the water and make carbonic acid. This carbonic acid again breaks down into bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion, right? What happens? When bicarbonate ion out this hydrogen ion combine with the hemoglobin and make HHB. These bicarbonate ion, these bicarbonate ion, they breaks down, they make H and HCO3. What happened? This pump get activated, they push out extra bicarbonate ion, right? Approximately 70% of extra HCO3 bicarbonate ions are pushed out, right? They goes out, and in return chloride come inside. I want to tell you one thing. This is called chloride shift. Whenever the chloride come inside, due to the increase in the concentration, what happened? Extra water come inside the RBC, and RBC becomes swell. This phenomena is called chloride shift. Tell me. I will look and tell me, is it clear or not? Is that clear? Atif,
Yes.
Maziha, Minasi, tell me all of you.
Yes.
Clear? So if you had the screenshot, it's okay. Else make the same diagram, what is visible in your screen for your school examination. Make a same kind of the diagram. Now, transport of CO2 as a bicarbonate or transport of CO2 as carboamino hemoglobin. Look, how does the transport of CO2 takes place? Carbon dioxide combines with hemoglobin and makes carboxyhemoglobin. 100 ml of blood transport 4 ml of CO2. So from tissue, carbon dioxide comes and 70% transported to bicarbonate ion, and rest 7% dissolved state, 23% in the form of carboxyhemoglobin, and is transported to lungs in this way, right? Hope it must be clear. And transport of the carbon dioxide is very important. Put the important mark over there because this question can be asked. Release of CO2 to alveoli, right? So the carbon dioxide is taken by tissues, taken from tissues by RBC. Now this RBC will go to lungs, and how does it releases the carbon dioxide over here, and in back taken oxygen over there, right? So release of carbon dioxide to alveoli, and in return it takes O2. This is called Haldane effect because it was discovered by J.S. Haldane. Whenever the oxygen comes inside or diffuse inside the RBC, HHB bond breaks down. HHB when breaks down, this hemoglobin make oxygen bond with the oxygen. This hydrogen ion get released. Again, this hydrogen ion combined with bicarbonate ion. These now you know what happened. Now the pump opposite movement of the pump start. Chloride ion again goes outside. Chloride ion goes outside, and in return bicarbonate ion come inside. Right. So from the plasma. So this bicarbonate ion react with the hydrogen ion. They make carbonic acid. Again, this all reaction goes inside the RBC. So this carbonic acid in presence of carbonic anhydrase breaks down into H2O and CO2, and this CO2 will be released into the lungs. So that's how the transport of release of carbon dioxide takes place into the alveoli. And one more thing, right? Because of entry of oxygen, this CO2 is releases, right? This phenomena is called actually Haldane effect, right? Discovered by J.S. Haldane. Tell me. Look over here and tell me, is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Done? Okay. Last but not the least, that is a disorders, right? So disorders in this chapter. Hypoxia, that is the shortage of oxygen in tissues, that is called hypoxia. Anoxia, absence of O2 in tissues, that is called anoxia. Asthma, so what happened in asthma, the mast cell releases histamine. So due to the histamine, inflammation in bronchi takes place. So basically this is respiratory tract disease. Inflammation in bronchi takes place, bronchi and bronchioles, and that due to coughing, seizing, mucus and clot formation takes place. This is called asthma, right? Occupational respiratory disease, very important. Asthma is also important. Occupational respiratory disease or emphysema. These three disorders are very important for your school exam. They'll ask you as a 2-marker question. So in occupational respiratory disease, occupational respiratory disease are those diseases which takes place due to occupation of any particular person. For sake of example, like those people who are involved in cement industry, so silica keep on going inside their nose, and due to that this infection always takes place, and the infection developed due to this profession, that is called occupational respiratory disease. So how does that take place? Chronic exposure like silica and asbestos. So somebody is working in silica and asbestos factory. So silica, that is fine particle, they are suspended in air, they keep on moving. So they goes inside the lungs, and what they do, proliferation of connective tissue takes place, formation of connective tissue takes place, right? And that's how the lungs get filled, right? That is called silicosis or asbestosis. So if this is caused by, this infection is caused by silica, this is called silicosis. If it is caused by asbestos, this is called asbestosis. Right? Is it clear? Occupational respiratory diseases.
Yes, sir.
So you must have seen those people who, those labor which comes to your home when construction of home takes place. So they keep on cutting the marble. So marble or any kind of the rock, when they keep on cutting those stones. So with the help of cutter. So due to the cutter, this dust it float here and there, and it goes inside. Right. That is also a respiratory uh, occupational respiratory disease. Pneumonia. It is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae, and that inflammation takes place in alveoli. That is called pneumonia. Emphysema. Emphysema basically takes place due to the cigarette smoking. What happened? This is a alveoli, and there are certain very many number of the septa between the alveoli. So due to cigarette smoking, the septa get dissolved or get ruptured, and the this disease is called emphysema. Emphysema means full of air, and due to which these alveoli collapse. So this was the last. Now go through with your NCRT and ask me if you have any doubt in this chapter, because we have completed this chapter. Ask me, please, if you have any doubt. Watch the complete all the pages. Have a look on your NCRT or like across your book. And in case if you have any single question, please ask me, because we have completed this chapter as a revision. Then we'll move to the next chapter.
Clear.
Clear? Okay. Atif and Mazia, please tell me. Great, great. So let's move in the next chapter. And the next chapter is that is body fluid and circulation. And I think it's in your syllabus, right? So next chapter, move in the next chapter, that is body fluid and circulation. Body fluid and circulation. So let's start. Look. So what is the body fluid? So any kind of the liquid which is filled inside our body is body. So there are two kind of the liquid which are filled inside our body. First liquid which is filled inside every cell, that is called protoplasm. So we have divided the complete body fluid in two parts, ECF and ICF. ICF is intracellular fluid, that is called protoplasm, and it is rich in potassium and phosphate. The another one is ECF, extracellular fluid. So this extracellular fluid that is that is found outside of our tissues. So this is called ECF, right? It is found in outside of our tissues, and it is these are the two things, lymph and blood, right? They are rich in sodium and chloride. So ICF is rich in potassium and phosphate, and ECF is rich in, that is lymph, that is rich in sodium and chloride, right? So that is ECF and ICF, right? Look, now come to the blood makes the 30 to 35% part of ECF, right? An adult person with 70 kg weight have 5.5 liter of ECF, and the pH value is 7.4, and it is blood is basic. Now come to the plasma. What is the plasma? So when we talk about the plasma, so plasma makes the 55% part. This thing we have to understand. The plasma makes blood plasma. I am talking about the plasma, not protoplasma. Plasma means blood plasma. So blood plasma is 55% of blood. That question I've been asking medical. 90 to 92% of blood plasma that is made up of water, and the mineral plus nutrient plasma is made up of mineral, nutrient plus protein plus water. 6 to 8% of protein of the plasma is made up of albumin and globin. Look, albumin and globin, that is the only protein which is found in our blood, and basically albumin work as this one. Albumin work as buffer solution, right? It do not allow to change in the pH value of our blood, right? It may always maintain the pH value 7.4, and it makes the blood basic albumin protein. That is a question for your medical examination. Next, blood plasma also contain lysozyme and property. What is lysozyme and property? Both are the enzyme which check the growth of the microbial growth, like bacteria, like viruses, like protozoa. And another thing, that is it contain heparin hormone. Heparin hormone do not allow blood to clot inside our body. That's why this is called anticoagulant or anti-clotting agent, right? One more thing, what is the serum? What is serum? Can anybody tell me what is the serum, please? Tell me what is serum. Tell me, guys, what is serum? Tell me what is serum.
The plasma without clotting factor.
Very good. Plasma without clotting factor. Very good. It means you have studied. Very good. So now I have tried to make you understand that what is the how does the blood clotting takes place. So if actually blood clotting takes place, if look, if this is a normal person, normal human being, right? It do not have any disease, it do not have any defect, abnormality. So in normal human being, the blood clotting should takes place after the injury. It should takes place within 6 to 7 minutes, right? Average, right? And maximum in 20 minutes. If beyond 20 minutes, it means the person have particular severe disease, right? He is not normal or she is not normal. So when the free or molecular oxygen goes inside the blood, the changes takes place. What happens? The solid part gets separated from the liquid part. The liquid part is blood plasma, and the liquid part will get separated. This is a light yellow color substance, right? So this is actually blood plasma. This is basically a light yellow color liquid, light yellow color liquid. This is the blood plasma, and blood plasma is made up of hormone, 90 to 92% water, carbohydrate, protein, fat, and mix. And I have already told you that the percentage of plasma in the blood is 55%. The next one is blood clot. The 45% part is made up of blood clot. So basically, what is the blood clot? 45% part is made up of blood clot, right? So out of them, blood clot is made up of RBC, WBC, platelet, thrombin protein, and fibrinogen protein. It is made up of, right, these kind of the things, right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now come to the RBC, WBC, and platelet. So here I'll tell you about the RBC. This is the basically diagram of RBC, right? Hemoglobin, this molecular hemoglobin, and this blue color molecule reflect oxygen, and hemoglobin makes bond with oxygen, and they make HbO2, that's called oxyhemoglobin. And hemoglobin is made up of two kind of this substance, globin protein plus iron, right? So that is a hemoglobin. Look, the number of RBC is 4.5 to 5 million per millimeter cubic, right? The abnormal rise in RBC, what we call when number of RBC increases beyond this 4.5 to 5 million per millimeter cubic, right? This is called abnormal rise in RBC is called polycythemia. Abnormal decrease in RBC is called erythrocytopenia, right? So rise of RBC is polycythemia, decrease of RBC is erythrocytopenia. Size of RBC is 7 to 8 micrometer. The 100 ml of blood have 12 to 16 gram of hemoglobin, right? Formation of RBC is called erythropoiesis, right? And lifespan of RBC is 120 days, right? This is the lifespan of RBC is 120 days. Graveyard of RBC is called spleen because what happened? After the death of RBC, they goes to an organ called spleen where RBCs are broken down. That's why they are called graveyard of RBC. And spleen is also known as the blood bank because why? Because if the extra blood formation will take place, then extra RBC get accumulated in spleen. That's why spleen is also known as the blood bank. So same thing. It is also called graveyard of RBC. It is also called blood bank, right? And the deficiency of the hemoglobin is called anemia, or deficiency of the blood is called anemia. RBC clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So this is WBC or leukocytes, right? So there is no fixed shape or amoeboid shape, right? So RBC, WBC do not have any fixed shape, and their basic shape is called amoeboid shape. They are amoeba-like structure. So what is the use of their shape changing property? So actually, there is a benefit of being shape changing property. They can change their shape. They have a particular age over the other blood cells. There are small creaks or gap between the tissues of blood vessels. So these WBC come out with the help of like they change the shape and they come out. They leak out of these creaks and they kill the germs, and that's why they help. Uh, that's how they help the changing in the shape help the WBC. So because they change the shape, so while changing the shape, they come out of these blood vessels. They keep on wandering here and there, and they come between the space between the blood capillary tissue or between the tissues, and there they kill the germs. So that is the edge over the other cells. Their number are 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cubic. The ratio of WBC and RBC is that is the 1:6 right? So the ratio is 1:6. So that is a great ratio, and that ratio have been asked in medical exams. Again, the rise in WBC is called leukocytosis. Again, abnormal. So rise, normal rise. So normal rise of when does this take place? Look, whenever we get any disease, whenever our body is attacked by any germs, then the number of WBC increases because production of WBC increases, right? So again, one more thing. The next thing is that abnormal rise of WBC. So whenever the abnormally WBC increases, then this is called actually abnormal rise called leukemia. So leukemia is a blood cancer. So rise in WBC, keep in mind, rise in WBC is leukocytosis, but abnormal rise in WBC is called leukemia, right? Again, the size of WBC, they are larger than RBC, 10 to 20 micrometer. Nucleus is one more thing I forgot to mention over there. Nucleus is absent in RBC. Here, when we studied in RBC, we were studying in RBC. So RBCs, they do not have nucleus and cell organ. That is need to mention over here. No. No nucleus, right? And no cell organelle, right? So there is nucleus is absent, right? And cell organelle is absent, right? These both things are absent, right? Again, abnormal rise in WBC is called polycythemia. Decrease in RBC called erythrocytopenia. In the same way, while we are studying the WBC, so abnormal rise of WBC is called leukocytosis. Abnormal rise is called leukemia, that is called blood cancer. Again, they have the nucleus, cell organelle are present, and formation of WBC is called leukopoiesis. That is the formation of WBC, right? Here below we can understand this is the type of WBC. How many types of WBC are found? Look, these are the type of WBC. Just I'll show you the type of WBC. Fine. So look, WBC are of basically two types. Try to understand. Focus over here. WBC are of two types: agranulocyte and granulocyte, right? Agranulocyte do not have granules in their protoplasm, and granulocyte have granule in their protoplasm. Again, A granulocyte have been divided in two categories, lymphocyte and monocyte. Lymphocytes are of two types, B lymphocyte and C lymphocyte. Actually, T lymphocyte, sorry, B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. Actually, the B lymphocytes made up produced in liver, and T lymphocyte are produced in thymus gland. Lymphocyte, they are non-motile or non-phagocytic. Non-motile means they do not change their shape and move here and there. Non-phagocytic means they do not eat bacteria or any virus, right? They produces antibody and destroy the microbe, toxic and tumor cells, right? This question have been asked in medical examination, right? Tumor, like which of the cell responsible for the destruction of tumor cells, right? So basically, the lymphocytes are responsible for tumor cell destruction. They are 22, they makes 20 to 25% part of all WBC. Their lifespan is few days to few years, right? Again, another is monocyte. Monocyte is the largest of all WBC, the largest of all WBC. They are motile and phagocytic. They are motile and phagocytic. They engulf bacteria and cell debris, right? So they are the largest of all WBC. That question have also been asked. The another question is that, right, they are motile and phagocytic, means they can move here and there, and they can eat bacteria, viruses, and the rest of the germs. Next, they engulf the bacteria and cell debris, means they eat the bacteria and rest of the dead part of the cell. Their lifespan is 10 to 20 hours. Again, the granulocyte have been divided into three parts. Their lifespan, the average lifespan of the granulocyte is 4 to 5 days. They are of three types: eosinophils, basophils, and neutrophils. Eosinophils, they increase during the allergy, asthma, hay fever, and they help to dissolve the blood clot. So eosinophils help in dissolving blood clot which takes place inside our body. They are non-phagocytic. They are similar like lysosome, means they destroy the protista. Basophils, they release heparin and histamine. Very important. Heparin is released by basophils. They are least in count. They are least in number. Neutrophils, that question I have also been asked. They are the most numerous of all WBC. They make 60 to 65% of all of WBC. They eat harmful germs. That's why they are phagocytic. I will look in WBC and ask any question if you do not understand. Have a glance. Tell me, guys, is it clear? Classification of WBC clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next one is blood platelet, right? So blood platelets, their count is 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 per mm cubic. The increase in platelet is called thrombocytosis. So blood platelets are known as thrombocytes. Decrease in blood platelets is called thrombocytopenia, and they are colorless and they do not have nucleus. That is, they are non-nucleated. The lifespan is of 1 week, right? Formation of platelet takes place in megakaryocytes of the bone marrow. There are a special kind of the cells in bone marrow called megakaryocyte. The production of platelet takes place over here only, right? So this was the WBC, RBC, and platelets. Now come to the blood group, right? So as we know that there are four kind of the blood group which are known. The most important question that the ABO blood group, A, B, and O blood group were discovered by Ladistinen in 1900. But the next one, last one, that AB blood group, it was discovered by De Castello and Stanning. Blood groups are known by the antigen found on their surface. There are four kind of the blood group: A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group, and O blood group. Look, A blood group have A antigen and B antibody. So what is the antigen? Antigen is a special type of protein which is found at the surface of blood capsules, right? So A blood group, it is named A because it has A antigen. B blood group have B antigen and A antibody. AB blood group have AB antigen but no antibody. That's why this is known as universal recipient. It can take blood from any other blood group, right? Again, O blood group, it do not have any antigen, but it have A and B both antibody. That's why this is universal donor, right? It can give blood to anyone, right? But it cannot take from anyone, right? Again, what are the antigen? I want to tell you again, make a revision for you that what are the antigen? Antigen are maybe living or non-living. It may be biological or non-biological substance, right? Antigen may be smoke, dust, or any kind of the chemical, right? It may be non-living. So biological, it may be bacteria, it may be virus, it may be protozoa, it may be fungus, it may be pollen. So what is the antigen? Any kind of substance which is not part of our body, that you need to in mind. Any kind of substance that is not the part of our that is not the part of our body, when it enter inside body, the formation of antibodies takes place. That is called antigen, right? Again, what happened? Suppose that this is a bacteria. So when it goes, it is antigen. When it goes, when it comes inside, WBC, which are non-phagocytic, means which do not eat bacteria. What they do, they secrete a special type of the protein, and this protein kills these bacteria or any kind of the antigen. This protein is called antibody. They remain dissolved in our blood for longer time period. So that's how the non-phagocytic WBC, they kill the bacteria or other pathogen. And what about the phagocytic? Phagocytic cells, what they do, these kind of the WBC, they eat the bacteria and they die themselves. That's how they work, right? So this is the antigen or antibody reaction. Tell me, clear? Antigen, antibody, clear?
Yes, sir.
What is the RH factor? Look, how does the blood groups are positive and negative? Why they are positive and negative? This is because of the RH factor. RH factor, it is not necessarily that it is found, it should be present in every cell, right? The person may have RH factor or may not have RH factor. RH factor is a type of protein that is called RH protein, right? It is discovered from rhesus monkey, that from where the RH came, right? Discovered in was Ladsteiner and Wollner. They were the person who discovered RH factor. If RH protein is present above the RBC, the blood group is positive. If RH factor is absent, the blood group is negative. RH protein do not have any function, a special function. It do not provide any support or function, any kind of the relevance in our body. Means if you do not have, if RH protein is present, then it means your blood group is positive. If RH protein is absent, your blood group is negative. And if you do not have RH protein, means if your blood group is negative, you do not have any demerit, right? Or if a person have positive blood group, it does he or she do not have any edge over the others, right? This is the positive and negative blood group. So what happened when a person is given a wrong blood group? Suppose that a person having B blood group, and you supply A blood group or AB blood group to that person. What will happen? The blood cells will clump, like opposite blood cells, opposite blood group cells, they clump. And that is called clumping. Due to clumping, the person will die, right? That's why you cannot give wrong blood group to a person, right? What is positive, negative? There is a disease called Hdn, Hemolytic Disease of newborn baby. What happens? Suppose that a mother has Rh negative, means mother have Rh negative blood group, and first baby, which is she opted during the pregnancy, is for have positive blood group. What will happen? The mother body will start treating the positive blood group of baby as a antigen. So mother body will start making antibody. The first baby will born and supply, he or she may have, the baby may have anemia, but it will survive. But if the second baby is also positive, then what will happen? Mother have already antibody against this second baby. So this antibody will kill the second baby and second baby will die. And this disease is called hemolytic disease of newborn baby. Is it clear or not? Tell me. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
HDN. Keep it in mind, HDN is very important. And you may get this question. Now, what is the lymph? Look. Now, I want to tell you what is the lymph. This is the blood vessels. Blood vessels have blood stream, and blood stream have two things: blood plasma and RBC, WBC, the blood cells. So a small amount of the plasma leach out of these blood vessels because blood vessels not completely impermeable. So a small amount of the yellow color substance it leach out. That is called lymph, right? And some of the lymphocyte cell, they are a special kind of the WBC, they also come. So between the tissue and this start accumulating between the tissue. This is called lymph, and lymph have two things. The lymph or lymph cells. Lymph is called middleman. Why? Because exchange of the gases takes place through the lymph. Exchange of the nutrient and excretion takes place through the lymph. So without lymph, the exchange of material do not take place between the tissue and blood capillary. So lymph always play a role in the exchange of material between tissues and between the tissues and blood capillary. So this is called lymph system, right? This is called lymph. So lymph is called middleman. Now what happened with the extra lymph? Because lymph keep on coming. So there are another pipeline, that is lymph vessels. They have lymph node. So these lymph vessels, they collect the extra lymph and again they pour it into the this blood capillaries or blood pipeline. So right. So lymph is made up of two things: lymph plasma and lymph capsules, right? Lymphocytes, right? And those organs which produces the lymph, they are called lymphatic organs. There are some organs like lymph nodes, tonsils, thymus gland, spleen. So these are the organs which keep on producing the lymph. So this was the lymphatic system. Go through the with your NCERT and tell me, is it clear or not? Tell me, guys, is that clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay, fine. Now there is a topic, that is a blood clotting process. How does the blood clotting takes place? Look, try to understand. It's very, very important for both your medical examination or school examination. How does the blood clotting take place? Tissues get injured. They releases a special kind of the protein that is called thromboplastin, right? Thromboplastin, in presence of calcium and some protein, it makes a prothrombinase enzyme. Again, when we get the injury, blood platelets of that part get disintegrate where the injury takes place. These disintegrated blood platelet, they releases a special kind of the substance called platelet factor 3. This platelet factor is also known as platelet thromboplastin, right? So this platelet thromboplastin, what happened? This platelet thromboplastin, this platelet thromboplastin, it comes out, and with the help of calcium and then protein, this platelet thromboplastin changes into prothrombinase. So both the injured tissues and blood platelets, they makes the prothrombinase, right? This prothrombinase, again, what happened with the prothrombinase? This prothrombinase enzyme, right? It changes prothrombin into thrombin, right? So catalysis takes place. And due to catalyzation, the prothrombin. So this prothrombinase changes prothrombin. What is prothrombin? Prothrombin is inactive protein. It changes prothrombin into thrombin protein, right? Again, this thrombin protein acts as an enzyme. This thrombin protein changes fibrinogen into fibrin, right? Both thrombin and fibrin, they make the blood clot and they prevent the extra flow of the blood. Is that clear or not? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Look, one more thing. Circulatory system are of two types: open circulatory system and closed circulatory. Now, what is the open and closed circulatory system? Open circulatory system, they do not have any artery or vein. Blood do not flow is in these arteries and veins like closed vessels. Blood remains filled in a space called lacuna, right? The space called lacuna. Organs bath in the blood, so organs keep on floating in the blood, right? So like this may or may not have heard. So basically I have given an example of arthropoda. So this is a diagram of arthropoda, and you can see this arthropod, it have the blood which is filled inside the space, right? So and these are the organ which keep on floating here and there, and they have a small hole-like structure. These called spiracles. So with the help of these spiracles, what they do, they directly exchange the gases, right? They do not have any lungs. They have trachea or any kind of the things, that kind of the things. So directly they exchange, the exchange of the gases takes place to the blood surface. So this kind of the circulatory system calls open circulatory. Again, closed circulatory system. In closed circulatory system, organism have heart, right? Heart supply the oxygenated blood with the help of artery, right? So there are a special kind of the tubes which supply the oxygen or oxygenated blood, right, to the tissues. So this is called, right, arteries. Arteries supply the oxygen. Again, in return, these tissues produces carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is supplied with the help of veins, right? So veins supply carbon dioxide or deoxygenated blood, right? So deoxygenated blood goes to heart, right? With the help of heart, arteries, and veins, this blood flows in closed vessels, and this is called closed circulatory system. All the organisms which have closed circulatory system, they do have heart, right? Blood flows closed vessels. All vertebrate have muscular heart, which is divided into chamber. Again, I have tried to show that, look, Pisces, that is the fishes, they have two chamber. Amphibian, they have the three chamber. Reptile, they have the three chamber. Crocodile is the exception, which have four chamber. And apes, that is the birds, they have four chamber. Mammals, they have four chamber, right? So go through with it and let me know. Tell me, is it clear or not? Tell me, is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay. Look, this is called circulatory system and this is called circulation, right? So what is circulatory system and what is circulation, right? This is called actually double circulatory system. How does the double circulatory system takes place? Double circulatory system means the blood flows in two cycles, right? Or rather, blood makes two cycle of a heart. So there are two cycles. First, pulmonary cycle, and second, systemic cycle. In pulmonary, the blood supply takes to the lungs, and in systemic, the blood supply takes to the goes to the tissues. Pulmonus means lungs, and systema means tissue, right? Look, heart is made up of four chambers, two auricle and two ventricle. So start from here. From tissues or peripheral tissues or capillaries, the carbon dioxide or deoxygenated blood, right? Carbon dioxide or deoxygenated blood, right? This deoxygenated blood, it goes to the right auricle, right? It goes to the right auricle, right? With the help of two tubes, that is the called vena cava. So there are two vena cava, up superior and inferior. So with the help of vena cava, carbon dioxide goes to right atrium. From right atrium, this deoxygenated blood reaches to right ventricle, right? From right ventricle, it goes to the lungs with the help of pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery takes to the lungs. Lungs takes the carbon dioxide, and in return, it gives to oxygen. Oxygen comes to the back to the heart with the help of pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein, it delivers oxygenated blood to left atrium. From left atrium, oxygenated blood comes to the left ventricle. From left ventricle, it goes through the aorta and goes to the rest of the tissues. And that's how the blood makes two cycle to the heart. The upper one, when the circulation takes place between the heart and the lungs, that is called pulmonary circulation. And when the circulation takes place between the heart and tissue, that is called systemic circulation. So double circulation is made up of two circulation, pulmonary and systemic circulation. Here, the pulmonary vein is the only vein which carry oxygenated blood, and pulmonary artery is the only artery in body, that carry deoxygenated blood or carbon dioxide, right? Have a glance on the double circulatory system and ask me if you have any doubt.
Clear, sir.
Clear? Okay, great. Now come to the next topic. Look, this is the actually structure of heart. You can take the screenshot and you can draw it, right? Even you can get the question. It depends on your school authority. They can like examination authority. They can ask you even to draw the heart. And this is the simplest. I have tried to make it simple. Look, this is the morphological structure. The heart size is 280 to 340 gram in males. It is 230 to 280 gram in females. The size of the heart is smaller in female. Heart remains covered with a membrane called pericardium membrane, right? And pericardial fluid is also found within the membrane and heart, which protect it from frictions. Look, this is right atrium, this one, and this is right ventricle, right? This is right ventricle. This is right atrium, and this is right ventricle. This is left atrium, and this is left ventricle. So these are the four chambers. In right atrium, blood comes from superior vena cava, and from lower side, inferior vena cava. So deoxygenated blood from upper organs comes from superior vena cava, and from lower organ goes to the inferior vena cava. It reaches to here, right atrium. Right atrium send blood to the right ventricle. From right ventricle, this blood goes through the left and right pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery takes to the lungs, and again blood comes back, oxygenated blood comes back, right? So this oxygenated blood comes back with the help of pulmonary vein, right? They brings in blood, right? Oxygenated blood, pulmonary vein, right? So this oxygenated blood reaches to the where? It reaches to the here left atrium. From left atrium, it reaches to the left ventricle, and from this aortic arc, this is the aortic arc. This upper part is supply the blood. This upper part. This is called aortic arc because this arc-like structure is go now then downward. The upper part is made up of this right common carotid artery, which takes the blood to the neck part and brain part. Right subclavian artery means right side of the this one shoulder part. Left common carotid artery to upper part of the brain part, and left subclavian artery means the shoulder part, right? So, and again it goes downward, and yes, this is the descending aorta. This descending aorta, it comes from here, it from backside it reaches over here and supply blood to complete body, right? So this was the morphology of heart. Is that clear? I think the diagram must be clear. Nothing there is a complex. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Circulation of human heart. Look, how does the circulation takes place in human heart? I have tried to show with my own diagram. Look, as I have told you that deoxygenated blood comes from upside from the superior vena cava, from lower side the inferior vena cava. Look, between the this is the right atrium. Between the right atrium, this is the right atrium. Between the right atrium and the inferior vena cava, there is a wall that is called Eustachian wall, which prevent the backflow of the blood. Okay. Keep my eyes on wall, Eustachian wall. Again, one more thing I forget to tell you. In the previous slide. Here, this is the carotid artery, right carotid artery and left carotid artery. Can anybody tell me what is the function of coronary artery? What is the function of right and left coronary artery? Can anybody tell me? You haven't asked that question and I forgot to tell you. That's why I came back. What is the function of coronary artery? Right and left coronary artery. Write it down. It supply blood to heart muscles because heart also require the oxygen for the generation of energy. Write it down. Right and left coronary artery both supply oxygen to heart and they originate from aortic arc. If the supply stop over here, the heart will die. The person will definitely die. Now come to the circulation, right? Superior vena cava takes the blood, deoxygenated blood from upper body part. It is not guarded by any valve. Again, the coronary vein, right? Coronary vein, which brings down the deoxygenated blood from the heart, right? Coronary artery, it supply oxygen to heart. Coronary vein, it takes back the carbon dioxide from the heart. It opens into right atrium and it is guarded by, like backflow is prevented by a valve called coronary valve. Is that clear? Both of the Eustachian wall and Thebasian wall clear? It is called coronary valve or Thebasian wall. Both are the same thing. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now the deoxygenated blood comes from right atrium to right ventricle. Right atrium to right ventricle. And between the right atrium and ventricle, there is a tricuspid valve. These are the structure of tricuspid valve. 3 half cup shaped valve. Tricuspid means there are tricuspid valve. So it is guarded by tricuspid wall. Right? Again, right. This is the tricuspid wall. Look. Right ventricle. Tricuspid wall. Again, the blood goes from this right ventricle to the left and right pulmonary vein. So the wall between the right ventricle and this pulmonary artery, which guarded the backflow, this is called pulmonary semilunar wall. Right, this is the third wall, pulmonary semilunar wall. Again, the wall between the left auricle and left ventricle is called bicuspid wall, means 2 half cup shaped wall, or mitral wall, right? So this is the fourth kind of the wall. Again, blood goes, now the blood goes from left ventricle to the aorta. The wall between the aorta and left ventricle is called aortic semilunar wall, right? So these are the 5 walls, 5 type of the walls which are found in heart. Tell me guys, is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Clear. Heartbeat. Look, this is the heart sound, right? So how does the heartbeat originate? Actually, in right atrium, there is a knot-like structure that is called pacemaker. We call it SA node, that is sinoatrial node, right? From here, the impulses or charge generate. This charge reaches to another point with the help of this is internodal tract with the help of this one, like with the help of these nerves, and it reaches to the AV node, arioventricular node. So first the charge generated from the SA node, it reaches to AV node. From AV node, there is a fiber-like structure that is called bundle of His. This bundle of His takes takes to downward, and from downward there are further branches which spread over the some across the heart, right, in all heart, so all part of the heart, and this is called Purkinje fiber. So Purkinje fiber remains spread across the heart in the form of branches. So they spread the this charge, and due to this charge, a jerk is generated and heart contraction takes place. So they help in the contraction and relaxation of the heart, right? So heartbeat originates from the SA node, it reaches to AV node, then it reaches to bundle of His, then Purkinje fiber, and this is responsible for heartbeat. And in brain part, the medulla oblongata is responsible for controlling the heartbeat, right? Look, heart sound, there is first sound and second sound. So first heart sound is generated due to partially closure of the bicuspid wall and tricuspid wall. When bicuspid wall and tricuspid wall open, right? So closes. When partially closes, bicuspid and tricuspid wall closes, and when partially contraction of muscle of ventricle takes place, the sound which is generated is a lump. So lump is first sound. So first sound is generated by the closure of bicuspid and tricuspid wall due to by the contraction of muscles of ventricle. Second sound is dub sound. Dub sound is caused by the closure of semilunar wall. So this is the sound of lub and dub. These are the heart sound. So lub is first heart sound that is generated by closure of bicuspid and tricuspid wall. Dub is second sound that is generated by the closure of semilunar wall. Is that clear? Lub dub sound.
Yes, sir.
What is the ECG? Electrocardiograph. So we have already understood this kind of this line is called electrocardiograph or electrocardiogram. So this P wave generate the depolarization of what? Auricle. Means contraction of auricle, systole of auricle, right? So auricle contract and systole takes place, then the formation of P wave takes place, right? This is called depolarization, and blood comes from auricle to ventricle, right? Then QRS complex. QRS complex means now the ventricle will contract, right? Ventricular contraction means ventricular systole. So ventricle contraction will take place. Bicuspid and tricuspid wall closes. Semilunar wall opens, right? Formation of QRS complex takes place. That is called ventricular depolarization, means contraction of ventricle, means systole of ventricle. Again, formation of T wave takes place when semilunar valve open, right? That is ventricular systole, right? Ventricle relax, semilunar valve open, and blood is ejected into aorta and pulmonary artery, right? And then the formation of T wave takes place. So this is called the cardiac cycle, or this graph is called electrocardiograph. Tell me, is that clear? Graph. QRS complex, P wave, T wave have been asked multiple times in your medical examination. This is basically for medical examination. Atif, is it clear? Mazia?
Yes.
Circulatory disorder, right? And the last thing, that is the hypertension, high BP, high blood pressure. When blood pressure reaches over 120/80, so from 120 it reaches beyond 140, that is called high BP. And if this lower 180 reaches up beyond 90, this is called high BP. CAD, coronary artery disease. This is also called atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is plaque, right? And that block the coronary artery, and the deposition takes place due to low density lipid LDL, right? And this disease is called blockage of the coronary artery, means the supply of oxygen reduces it to the heart. This is called atherosclerosis or coronary artery disease, or CAD. Angina, this is also known as angina pectoris. Angina pectoris, right? The supply of oxygen decreases to the heart, and due to the pain starts from here, the backward, from the neck to the backward, and it travels downward. This is called angina pectoris, right? Heart failure is not a stoppage of heart. Actually, this is the decrease in the blood supply. That is called heart failure, right? So a state of when it is not pumping if sufficient amount of the blood, right? This is called heart failure. Tell me, guys, have a glance on this chapter. We have revised this chapter as well. Have a glance on this chapter. In case if you have any question, please ask. Any question? Look both of the chapter, and the next text, like today is the revision session, and the next class, that's tomorrow, that will be the test session. So tomorrow we won't have class. First day, like Saturday, revision class, and Sunday you will have test. So I will take text from the both of the chapter, respiration as well as circulation, right? The chapter which we have revised today.
Sir, can you repeat the schedule for tomorrow?
Tomorrow we will take the test, right, of the both of the chapter which we have revised today, respiration and circulation, right?
Yes, sir.
Minashi, Mazia, any question, doubt?
No, sir.
No. So right. So see you in next class.
Sir, is it compulsory to attempt the test?
If you will attempt, it will give you benefit, right? Because this will be the descriptive question.